Kia ora koutou. Third time conference, second time speaking, first time moving a paper. In the first instance, I would like to acknowledge the mountain of work that has been done in preparing this paper by Judy Allison, as well as Graham Bridge in chairing the papers workshop. I also wish to acknowledge the experiences that we heard yesterday, stories that need to be heard, stories that tell a true tale of woe in terms of the headaches and the heartache around implementation of the qualification we know so lovingly as NCEA. Mentioning the words NCEA and review in the same sentence is bound to trigger even the most exhausted of teachers. Work overload issues around NCEA can be heard in conversation, in staff rooms and corridors across our nation, followed closely by issues around credit parity, moderation, resourcing, and any apparently deliberate inclusion of one of the bingo items in a speech. We are fully aware and share these concerns with you, concerns that we also deal with on a daily basis. When searching for a metaphor, I was advised against using my beloved Death Star. Perhaps the Millennium Falcon is a better analogy, a bucket of bolts captained by a reluctant member of the Rebel Alliance. However, what needs to be said first off is that we are not here to talk about the operation and implementation of NCEA as we use it day to day. Those really aren't the droids we are looking for. This paper instead deals with the forthcoming major review of the structure of the qualification. As Jack pointed out in his opening address, the paper is about the design, not the operation. To help you make the distinction between those two things, we put a document up on the website, reference in the paper about what was in scope for the review and what wasn't, and what to do about the things that aren't in scope. The review is part of a normal qualifications review process mandated by NZQA. It is not the MOE launching into a complete upheaval of the whole system. The date for such a review has always been by the end of 2018. The standards themselves will be reviewed by the end of 2019, and that is a different process around which we will also have plenty to discuss and contribute our collective voice towards. Again, this is not our review. What we are seeking from this conference is adoption of a set of principles to guide our representatives in their input into the review next year. The principles we are recommending you adopt are the 8 criteria developed originally by the Qualifications Framework Inquiry in 1997. These 8 criteria are enduring. They were confirmed by PPTA in 1997, again in 2005, and we are asking you to confirm them again this year to guide our input into this review. At this point, I would also like to acknowledge the huge contribution to the Qualifications Framework Inquiry of our former President, Peter Allen. The 8 criteria as discussed in the paper are that a qualification must be manageable, inclusive, constructive, motivating, cumulative, fair, clear, and coherent. As I said earlier, these criteria confirmed by annual conference in 1997 as the basis for a qualification system that could be endorsed by PPTA, and the QFI report guided the development of NCEA in many ways. In 2005, annual conference evaluated NCEA after its first 3 years, rating it as meeting the criteria of inclusivity, constructiveness, and cumulativeness, but raised questions about whether it was meeting the other 5. We all know that the biggest area in which NCEA falls short is manageability. The review must, if nothing else, produce solutions to reduce excessive assessment at the expense of learning, currently so rampant in our schools and having a demotivating effect on all involved, negatively impacting on both teachers and students' well-being. Even ERO have identified excessive assessment as a threat to student well-being. In the words of Princess Leia, would it help if I got out and pushed? The paper also discusses in some detail the inclusiveness criterion and considers whether the current structure of NCEA may possibly be too inclusive. This is where the vexed issue of credit parity is touched on in the paper, with students able to earn high numbers of credits from some unit standards in a relatively short time compared with the time needed to earn credits from most achievement standards. The discussions on this will be quite challenging. Finally, I draw your attention to the conclusions of the paper. In particular, that in developing this paper, Executive has made a deliberate decision to establish a set of principles in the form of the QFI's 8 criteria, rather than to write a paper which sets out specific technical solutions for you to wrestle with on the conference floor. We did this to give our representatives on the review working group room to work towards the solutions that will work best, given that the working group will no doubt hear many ideas from different parties, including large numbers of teachers and students. PPTA's representatives won't be short of indicators of membership views. There is a digest of all the major conference decisions on NCEA since 2002 on our website. We can also seek further thoughts from members through normal PPTA channels, including surveys, branch consultations, etc. The current proposed timeline includes one formal round of consultation by the Ministry during February-March 2018, but PPTA will be demanding further consultation should radical recommendations for change be on the table. As proposed in the already accepted amendment to Rec 3, we will be recommending that student voice will also be sought on any proposed changes. I strongly urge you to support recommendations as they stand.
Kia ora, Kylee.